sonder jou aangaan eendag, wat ek sonder twyfel weet. Jy is nie net 'n nommer nie, en jy is deel van die groter prentjie, daar's rede dat jy lewe, 'n doel vir jou bestaan. Daar's 'n plekkie in die son vir jou en my, 'n plekkie elkeen het 'n doel gekry. Al voel jy soos 'n sandkorreltjie klein wat in die grootste duin verdwyn. Jy vat my die hoogste hoogte se, die in die arend en die ander in die wind. Ons almal is maar sandkorreltjies klein, maar saam is ons die mooiste ding.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
That's right. Burn someone else's flag, folks. Burn someone else's flag. Else's flag, folks. Yep, we've had enough of this horse manure. Go burn someone else's flag. Welcome back to the program, folks. It's Sunday, November 24th, 2024. Just days away from Thanksgiving here in America and my sister's birthday. My younger sister's birthday is on the 28th. Happy early birthday to her. And I see some people say they came over for Ronaldo, but Ronaldo had 77 viewers. I already had 7. There's 64 here. That means, even if you all came from Ronaldo, it wasn't much of a bump. But thank you for the bump, Ronaldo. Yeah, late broadcast today. Apologies for that, folks. Not late. Ronaldo used to broadcast at this time every night in South Africa, and he had a good audience for it. Times change, though. People find lives and go back to life after the COVID scam. But welcome back to the program. We'll talk about some news today. Congratulations to Scotland and to England, both of whom won today, decisively over Australia and over Japan. Also to Georgia, who defeated Tonga. Tough season for Tonga. I think they lost pretty much every game. And there is Brett Sessoms with a $5 super chat. Was SWAPO good as a liberation force? Running Namibia also is SWAPO a race-baiting anti-white party? Thoughts on Nujoma? Well, that's a lot of questions for $5, Brett. Was SWAPO a good liberation force? They were virtually not ineffective. Their liberation force had virtually no impact. The South African security forces, Namibian security forces, Southwest African security forces were able to deal with them. They had very little to do with the independence in Namibia. It was negotiated settlement as a consequence of what happened in Angola and South Africa, giving up its League of Nations mandate, which it had held legally since the end of the First World War, despite the claims by the corrupt United Nations that it had no basis to be there. So was SWAPO a good liberation force? They had virtually no impact on liberation. So I would say that they're a non-factor. Beyond that, running Namibia, I think they've done a poor job of running Namibia. There are many more people who are living in abject poverty today than there were in 1990 when independence was gained, because the gains since 1990 have gone largely to the cadres, the connected, and the already wealthy, and not to the average Namibian who lives in abject poverty to this day. SWAPO, a race-baiting anti-white party. SWAPO was not a race-baiting anti-white party until the last election. In the last election, the municipal elections, they turned very much into race-baiting anti-white party. And that cost them dearly. They lost control of all metropolitans. There's no real metropolitans in Namibia, but all cities across the country. They don't control any of them because of their race baiting. The Namibians didn't want part of that, and they voted against them demonstrably for their service failure and for the race baiting. Thoughts on Sam Nujoma? I have neither here nor there. A part of a crooked regime that started the rot in Namibia that's still there, but I'm not saying he was crooked. And current SWAPO. Current SWAPO is a disaster. It's like the ANC, the ZANU-PF, no different than either of those parties or Frelimo. These are parties, or the MPLA, that have led their countries into disaster because they're not there for black freedom and equality for everyone. They're there for self-aggrandizement, self-enrichment, self-aggrandizement, and craving political power. And that's the problem with so many politicians around the world. So, Brett, that was a lot of answers for your $5 super chat. I hope you feel you got your money's worth on that. Dylan Colbert was here early. Ants was here as well. Charmaine. Jacques Joubert says he came over for Ronaldo. Tony Nage is here. Gosh, I feel honored. Tony, I haven't seen Tony chat for, 4 or 5 months. Welcome, Tony. How are things out in the Western oil sands, as you prefer to call them? Val Cooper, how's it going? Vilma Rasmus, Mail Theret, and then Brett gave thoughts on SWAP in the upcoming elections. That was your super chat membership for 3 years. You used that for that, so I'll answer that question as well. Thoughts on SWAPO in the upcoming elections? I think there's a dearth of information, so it's really you're tossing darts, and I'm getting the sense of what's been happening in the room, so to speak, without any data to support it by and large. But I think that SWAPO will fall below 50% and be forced into coalition like the ANC. Les Bankston in from the Cape Town. I recognize Les, so thank you for being here. Monray Siebert, it's good to see you again. Tracy Wolf is back. Richard Kuhn. Debbie Morey is here. Debbie, your chat got blocked by YouTube. All Debbie said was, please hit the like button and subscribe to receive notifications of Bell of future streams. And that was blocked by YouTube censors. I had to unblock that as the channel creator. Sorry about that, Debbie. I don't know what's YouTube. That's just more harassment on the channel. Maybe because there's, images. Who knows why they did it. Colonel needs a new song. Well, I'm waiting 4 years now for Giselle to write a theme song for my channel. So you mean a new song from Giselle or a new song for that, Tom McDonald song? I love that Tom McDonald song. Internet playing silly buggers. Yep, that's right. Okay. Something like My Mind's Going Blank. Well, we've been playing that one to death as well. Debbie, he says, thanks for the reminder. Okay. The like button. George Steinberg is in from Heckport. George, how's it going? Gus is back. Good to see you there again. Hendo is in here. And John Mosline is back. John, it's good to see you again as well. How's it going? Johnny Metro, how you doing? Kiff Tune, or you mean Cool Tune? I'm not really sure what that meant. This chat just jumped ahead on me, so I got to catch back here. There we go. I'm back where I started now, and we've got Smee again. Hey, Smee again. He's back again. Good to see you. I missed you in the chat there somehow. And George Steinberg, Gus, that's where I was. Tracy, rock on, says Tracy. All right, cool beans. Brett Sessoms, often forget myself too. What are you forgetting? Slippery Pickles here. And then we've got Drian. Oh my gosh, Drian is in from Botswana. Drian, gosh, I almost forget about you guys sometimes in Botswana. How are things on that side of the fence? Predictions, the upcoming election. There it is, Brett. The SWAPO will go into a coalition. Tony says, very cold out in Western Canada. Yes, coffee for Tony. Yeah, exactly. Give him some thermal underwear too. And maybe a hot water bottle. Hit the like button, says Brett. YouTube needs to get a life and grow a thick skin. Yeah, well, I agree with that. Arctic is in, and Liam Minar is here. Welcome, and welcome to everybody. So I've been broadcasting this morning, up early for that. Finished the broadcasting, went out and mowed my yard. It is almost December and I'm mowing the yard because I couldn't know it. I wanted to mow at the beginning of November, but this is the latest I ever mowed it. And of course, someone has allowed their mangy pets to defecate in my yard. I found 5 piles of dog feces. I nearly walked 2 in the back. Somehow the bolt fell off my mower, and when I was lifting it up, so now I've got a mower that's not quite proper. I've got to get a bolt to fix it. So it made it difficult to mow, but I mowed the entire backyard in about 37 minutes. Usually takes an hour and a half because there's virtually no grass to mow. But my demonic neighbors just got mowing into December, so I had to mow my yard. Anyway, otherwise the dogs think, oh, look, tall grass. It's not really tall grass. So then I was mowing the front yard, found another gift from someone's pet. That's a criminal offense to do that here in this township. It's a violation of state law. It's a violation of township ordinances. And if I catch you bastards and your little shitbird dog shitting in my yard, you will regret it. You will regret it to a very high financial cost. So there's a warning. There's a line in the sand. I'll put a camera back out and make sure that I can catch these people. But I'm sick of walking in dog feces because your lazy little fucks don't clean up after your mangy, flea-bitten little shitheads, or they're out without a leash on. I'm sorry. Did that offend anybody? Yeah. No one should walk on the property they pay taxes for and they're required to maintain a step in someone's dog shit. It's simply inappropriate and rude. And anybody that thinks it's appropriate, I'll give them a little attitude adjustment. Come on over to my front yard. We'll take care of business, okay? Nice sun streaming through window. It's a lovely day, though it is, except when, fortunately, I was able to avoid stepping in any of that crap today. I did see it because the grass was rather short. Anyway, so just give you a sense of how I feel about that, in case you were wondering. Yeah, off to a good start here on a winter's day. We're almost winters. I mean, official day of winter hasn't started yet. Dreon says having thunderstorms. Wow, any day you don't die of the heat in Botswana is a good day. That's true, Dreon. Yeah, it's kind of warm, but thunderstorms are a good sign. Fill up that reservoir. Definitely need the water there in Hamarone. What's wrong with people? They don't pick up. Well, it's a requirement, Debbie. It's a requirement. I actually caught a couple of teenagers walking some mangy mud I'd never seen before. It stopped in my yard when I was out weeding my yard earlier this spring, and it took a dump, and they started to walk away. I'm like, excuse me? And they looked at me and said, what? I said, you need to clean it up. And they had the plastic in the bag, just lazy little shits. These people are disgusting. After in Clintonville, they turn the other cheek. I'll take another cheek. I find out who they are. I find their house. I'll go take a dump in their front yard. See how they like it. Yep. All right. So Cracker Barrel Kid says, my first time on one of your streams after being Senator Bernardo guarding the dogs. Maybe invite a Haitian immigrant. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Thank you, Brett, for the super chat. Thoughts on current MK? MK is a vanity project for the 82-year-old octogenarian Jacob Zuma. When Jacob Zuma passes from the earth, MK will cease to exist. And doo-doo head Zilla will have to find some other affectation for her. It is a vanity project for Jacob Zuma, nothing more. Much like the EFF is largely a vanity project for the EFF, and we're seeing it now as people defect from the EFF because they're tired of Joe's Malema's horse manure. He was just a flash in the pan that lasted far too long. And he's not done, but his meteoric rise ended 10 years ago, and we won't go any higher. I've predicted from the outset the EFF is a party that would never go above 15% on the national level, and they've never achieved that, and they never will. So, thoughts on MK? MK is a disaster. They've now had their 5th general secretary in less than a year. The party is just now becoming a year old, and they've had 5 general secretaries. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. It's just a grifter's program to feed money back to Jacob Zuma for his lifestyle. Every seat they got in Parliament, they have to give a portion of their salary back to Jacob Zuma. That's been exposed to the public now. How that's even legal, I don't know. That seems to me to be quite criminal. Kevin says, get a pit bull. Then I've got to clean him up after a kit bull, Kevin. I'd much rather do something else. So Arctic says, what percent is MK going to get pre and post Zuma? Well, Arctic, that's an unfair question. You have to give me a date. Do you want to talk about municipal elections on the national average? Well, it really doesn't matter because each municipality is where it matters, but it is a kind of a signpost. Or the national elections. National elections aren't until 2025 more years, 2028, right? 2028. It's a long way off. Predicting that's a long way off. If Jacob Zuma is still alive in 2028, which is another 4 years from now, it'd be 86, the party will go over 25%, maybe even higher, depending on events between now and then. If, however, Jacob Zuma is passed from this world, then that party will shrink below 10% and disappear. Stick a no doggy do here sign all over our city. Hey, Tony. Yeah, so there you go. All right, so let's talk about the news today. Donald Trump made more appointments Almost every one of his cabinet positions requires Senate confirmation has now been filled. There are other positions in the executive branch that require Senate confirmation that are lower, but look, my audience has been asking me this question about whether I would work in the Trump administration and if I was offered. I will tell you this. Someone did contact me about working in the Trump administration and a recommendation for me to work somewhere in the Trump administration. I won't disclose where and I won't disclose whom because it probably will go nowhere if there's just so many thousands of people chomping at the bit to be part of the gravy train. I don't want to be part of the gravy train. I want to fix America. So we'll see. But I have been contacted. Someone did talk to me about joining the Trump administration. So I'll just tell you that much, okay, for now. All right, if anything comes of it, I'll let you know. So there you go. So that's secrets out there. Yeah, Tony knows something. Does Tony know something? All right, okay. All right, well, I don't know what you know, Tony, because I didn't tell you. Maybe you know somebody. Anyway, that's where that's at, in case you're wondering. Petition to call another election in the UK is currently at almost, wow, that's incredible, RS. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't even know the petition went up. I know there was talk of a petition going online. Is it on change.org? Where's it at? Respect for SWAPO. At least they tried to fight, unlike the MK cowards. African idiot, I will give you that. Plan actually fought. They suffered. They lost badly time and again. MK is a bunch of BSers. That's right. Tony also heard that from someone else. Well, Tony, okay, that's news to me. Okay. Well, folks, I don't know if that's another angle, but there you have it. So I think the odds are low, dim, but I am sharing that with you. So there you go. So the eucalyptus tea folks can rush off and go, oh, don't promote him. And the black supremacists who like to lie about me, get ready because you're going to hate it. All I will say is South Africa, get ready, says Tony. All right. All right, Tony, I don't know anything about that. We'll see. All right. Anyway, so like I said, I don't think anything's going to happen. We'll see. You'll be good in Veterans Affairs, African Relations, Asia, and the Caribbean. I'm not so sure. Sunburn trees in the Caribbean. Yeah. Well, I think it would be a great asset to President Trump and his team. Absolutely, because I don't take BS. And I tell the emperor where he's when he's wearing no clothes. But hey, that's just me. And the gentleman who's new in the program, let me come back to that and said he saw me for the first time. Cracker Barrel Kid, thank you for being here. I'm surprised you don't. This is the first time you've come here, you say, but it's the first time you've heard of me. Have you not heard of me before? If that's not the case, just let me know. South African president. Can't do that, Dylan. I'd have to surrender my American citizenship, and that's just far too valuable. Just know if you stop broadcasting to work in government, we will make you the lady our fall guy. Well, if I stop broadcasting, I don't think I will stop broadcasting. Let's just say, for instance, if I got a position in Washington, D.C., there's lots of seasons in D.C. and lots of things to see and lots of excuses to walk around the streets of Washington, D.C. And film things. Just saying. Ooh, Johnny Metra says it's 15 degrees in Canada. I assume you're talking Fahrenheit, not Celsius. 15 is gorgeous. 15 Fahrenheit is kind of chilling. That's bone chilling. That's like Buffalo air chilling. So if I were, say, somewhere else, say somewhere to Africa, there's lots of reasons to go out and show people what's going on. Minus 15 Celsius. Oh my goodness. It is 51 degrees Fahrenheit here, which is about 10 degrees Celsius. Wow. Spiker Hunt is back. Sometimes I'll open the news streams to see if they have thrown a nuke yet. Some dumb diplomats out there are indeed. I'll put in a good word for Elon. Yeah, I'll tell you what, that's if he bought MSNBC and they turned it around, I'd be happy to be a broadcaster on there. But one of the problems, have you had any snowfall yet, Chris? Maryland, we had snow on Thursday. It was rainy, miserable. The only time I hate the weather, I mean, when it's bitterly cold, I don't mind it as long as the humidity isn't high. But when it's cold and damp, when it's rainy and around freezing temperature, I hate that. That's the worst because that's bone chilling. No matter how much of a Viking you are, it comes sideways and it hits you and it goes right in your body. That stuff I hate. I mean, I'll take below zero frozen temperatures before I'll take that crap because you get soaked and it just chills your body. Even if you have wet weather gear on it, eventually it gets through it. So, so what was the question? Snowfall. Yeah. So it was raining and late in the afternoon when I went to the Veterans Organization to the building, as I was sitting in the car gathering my stuff to go in to take care of some business, the rain turned to snow, but it didn't stick. So there was snowfall in the northern part of Pennsylvania in the higher altitudes, but not here. Would you want Elon to fire me? Oh, good Lord. Mika and Joe have got to go. Yeah, absolutely. And MSNBC, here's the problem with MSNBC. I answered the question for someone on Ronaldo's chat just before I left. I forget who the gentleman was. Mr. T, I think it was. A pity the fool. Yeah, Mr. T was on there. So just saying, I would have to say that the problem with that is that MSNBC gets most of its news feeds and stories from NBC News, which has a global operation and will still belong to Comcast. They'll still keep it. They're going to keep that as part of their assets. NBC. They're dumping CNBC. They're dumping MSNBC. Unless MSNBC pays for the news content, which they can't afford, or they probably won't be allowed to because of conflict of interest, they will have a problem. MSNBC has no reporters. They just have mouthpieces like Rachel Maddow, Joe Scarborough, and Mika Brzezinski. So they're screwed. They're truly screwed. They're going to have to pay a fortune to access news and build a network of journalists. So, yeah, YouTube algorithm really pushing the nuke videos lately. Yeah, they are. And I need to do a video about that. I was on Alex Newman's program either yesterday or today. I'm not sure. I don't think I got a link on that. They're supposed to send me a link, but Alex Newman was supposed to have me on there. I will be making a video about broken promises from the first Trump administration. For those who think that I'm just a super MAGA guy, I'm a Trump voter enthusiastically, but I hold politicians to the fire, their feet to the fire, even if I'm being considered. So should I do the broken promises video? Yeah, they need a lot more than a sink change. You're right, Slippery Pickle. Want the Springboks to win. Well, the Springboks did win, Brett. They win 11 victories, 2 losses. The 2 losses were by an aggregate of 2 points. 1 point loss to Argentina in Argentina, and 1 point loss to Ireland in South Africa, in Durban, if I recall correctly. Your SEC better behave themselves. Who's going to do SEC and Powell's job for Donald Trump? I don't know. I really don't know. Only after Trump appointment. Yeah, I only do that after the Trump appointment. Want Trump to hire Dan Bilzerian as chief of staff? I don't think so, Jonathan. I watched Dan Bilzerian. That guy's cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. Joe Scarborough makes $8 million a year. Some people think he murdered his intern. I have no idea, Brett. $8 million a year. That's $8 million. It could be spent acquiring actual news stories from genuine journalists, not talking mouthpieces like Joe Scarborough. He doesn't have a large enough audience to justify $8 million. His audience is large enough to justify $250,000 a year salary at best. Johnny Metro, 15 in England, but I'm Canadian and was the old flag left in 19... Huh? I have no idea what Johnny just said. What are you doing in England, Johnny Metro? I thought you were in Canada. Okay. Anyway, why did Gaetz renege the position as AG? Oh, okay. Well, Tony, there's a couple different theories on this. I guess we're going to get to news later because people are asking questions. It's Sunday and it's kind of a relaxed day. So, okay, on Matt Gaetz. So let me lay out the facts. This isn't pro. This is anti-Gaetz. This is a statement of fact. As a journalist, as an analyst, I prefer the facts. So Matt Gaetz has been under investigation by the Department of Justice for 3 years. They did an investigation into allegations he committed crimes of having sex with underage minors and paying for prostitutes. Because he was a member of the House, the Justice Department felt it was their purview to investigate a member of the House, even though it's not. It's the local law enforcement do that. But they did it. After 3 years, the demonically possessed Merrick Garland Department of Justice could find nothing. 3 years under the Biden regime, they found nothing they could actually prosecute that was prosecutable. So they dropped the case. They let it go. There was no merit to it. Meantime, the House Ethics Committee started a probe into his conduct, even though they know the Justice Department dismissed the case. They started a probe into his conduct because they hate Matt Gaetz. The Democrats despise him, the rhinos despise him, and those who were friends of Kevin McCarthy despise him even more because he got Kevin McCarthy bounced out as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. This is a revenge of Kevin McCarthy and the other rhinos and their Democratic love boys and girls in the House. And so they continue this investigation. There is supposition, and I was among the first to state this. I didn't hear anybody else say it. I came up with this on my own, but now I hear others saying it, and I'm not saying they got it from me. I'm just saying they're saying the same thing. It's not rocket science. What if Matt Gaetz got reelected to keep that position, and he hoped they would drop the case, but then they made it clear they're going to continue the case. And so Trump, whom he's very loyal to, offered to appoint him as Attorney General, knowing that he would never get confirmation. Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski would never vote for it. That means there are only 51 Republicans. At the time, it was only 50 because he didn't know if he was going to get Dave McCormick when he made this appointment. So it could have been just 50 Republicans versus 50 independents and Democrats and 3 rhinos. And so it would take the vice president. That would be embarrassing. So he made the appointment or nomination knowing that it probably wouldn't go through. Let's see if it goes through because he's a pit bull and he's loyal. And that's what Trump wants and needs. Pam Bondi's also a pit bull, and I think she's very loyal to Trump. So, but there's nothing they've got on her. What are they going to go after? Because she's a blonde? Maybe because she bleaches her hair, but that's not really a disqualifying factor. I'm going to start bleaching my hair red. Go back to my Celtic roots here before too long. Just like Jen Psaki, who's not a redhead, I'm going to bleach my hair red. Let's see what you guys say. I'll wear this Scotland jersey and come on with a red beard and a red hair. What do you guys have to say about that? Anyway, so the supposition is that he made the offer. That would give Gaetz a dignified way to resign from the House of Representatives. See, if he didn't run, again, they would say it was because of the investigation. He was trying to cancel it. Okay? All right, so if he didn't run again, they would say, and he would be tarnished. So then if he ran and got reelected and they continued it and they claim they found something, they could kick him out of the House and he'd be tarnished. If he resigns after being nominated by Trump for the AG, and then he goes before the hearings, which he did, and they say, well, we're not sure we want to vote for you. And he says, you know what, this is too big a distraction. Let me resign. In the meantime, the House ethics probe is ended because you're no longer a member of the House of Representatives. So that's done. The Justice Department probe is gone. That's gone. And now Matt Gaetz is not the Attorney General. That's gone. He resigned. He's a private citizen, but Trump can appoint him to any position that doesn't require Senate confirmation. There are thousands of those. So that's probably what should happen there. I think that's what's going to happen. So does that answer the question? Johnny Metro answered my question. He said, left South Africa in 1990, became Canadian, but live in UK, but I'm keen to leave very soon. Where would you go? Malta? Finland? Oh, well, after Russia nukes it. wait till they finish nuking it. Those are great places. Estonia, but only if you've got a fallback place in Finland. But I would go to the Åland Islands off the west coast of Finland, which are gorgeous. It's a Swedish-speaking region. 90% of the residents speak Swedish. It's a beautiful place. They fired him halfway through his first cop interview. Who's that? Pam Bondi will be a good AG. She's good at her job. She's very good, Brett. Where cops are good in USA, they break a case much faster. Remember that dude that put his girlfriend and kids in the oil tank? No, I don't know that case. Well, Johnny Metro, you've had quite the history. South Africa, Canada, England. Now where are you trying to go? All right, cool beans. You're welcome, Johnny Metro. But look it up. Look up. It's spelled A-L-A-N-D. A-L. In fact, I'll show you guys. We'll do a little quick tour of that. I've done that before in the program. I think I made a video on Åland Islands. It's beautiful. So here we go. Let's take a look at this, and then we'll get back to the. We're having a lovely chat here. Why get back to the other stuff? As long as people, I'll get to some of the chat here, some of the news here shortly. But here we go. Let's get to this. There you go. So I want to go back to the original picture. There you go. That's Åland Islands there. Look at that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, so it's a autonomous region of Finland comprised of 6,700 islands. The Swedish-speaking archipelago in the Baltic Sea. Capital is Mariehamn, which is Marine Harbor. There you go. So there you go. Halfway between Sweden and Finland. Absolutely beautiful. Mariehamn is right there in the center. It's just gorgeous. So let's take a picture of that. Well, I won't take a picture, zoom out. Anyway, let me get to one of the websites that takes you to. I don't want Britannica. I want one of the Visit Åland. Yeah, it's pronounced Åland, I think. The Finns always correct me. I get it wrong. Yeah, here you go. It's a beautiful place. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, that's a Palmern. That's one of those grain ships that used to run between Australia and the UK bringing wheat every year. That's one of the castles. I've been to there. Yep, gorgeous place. There's Mariehamn. The weather's surprisingly balmy for that high north. It's just for some reason. It wasn't too bad when I was there. Okay, so let's take a look. We go down here. You got neat accommodations, events, how to travel. I was there for Skurdefest. Skurdefest was awesome. Yep. Culture and history. Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. Let's take a look at events and see what they got here. Okay, Christmas table, cinema, farm visit. Oh, they got 4-H in Finland? I didn't know that. 4-H is an American thing. Cool beans. Anyway, so there you go. Trump better appoint a new FAA head. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about that. What did I miss here? Joe Scarborough makes it. Man, I already got that. Okay, I think I caught up on the chat. Johnny says too cold. Oh, okay. Well, then try Malta, brother. Try Malta. Let's go Malta. Malta is in the middle of the Mediterranean, and it's an absolutely gorgeous place. And you can actually get citizenship there rather easy with investment. Malta, discovering Malta. I'm trying to find Malta. Is there a Malta Island site? No, it's crazy. You think they'd have their own site? Let's try this one here. Discover the Maltese Island. This is a travel site. I was looking for something from the actual official tourism. Discovering the Maltese Islands. Yeah. So, well, that's useless. I was looking for a useful site. That is useless. That tells me nothing. I was looking for pictures or something. Activities. That's useless. But Malta's a pretty cool place. It's right in the middle of the, as I said, the Mediterranean. So just below Sicily and east of Tunisia, sits out there. It was one of the places Crusaders built their fortresses. Beautiful history place there. Malta, what's the population? Population is, okay, how about a population? Oh, that's the island. I want Malta. It's not giving me the population. Anyway. Sally wouldn't survive a quarter way through. I hear Kamala's back at her day desk. I haven't heard anything about that, G, so it's news to me. Thoughts on living in and visiting Italy? Never been. Italy's a fantastic place to visit, but it's a difficult place to live in because they constantly go on strike. A lot of stuff is done under the table, and everywhere you go, you have to pay tolls. I mean, all the highways are tolls. It's very annoying, and they're not cheap. The autostrada cost a fortune to travel on. The trains are not cheap. Well, they're not too bad. At least they weren't. But I haven't lived there, now in a long time, 25 years since I lived in Italy. So who knows what it's like now. But I'm just telling you what it was like when I lived there. And the taxation is crazy. It's tax here, tax there, tax everywhere. I will tell you this: if you're young, if you're single, Italian women have incredible legs. No matter how attractive or unattractive they are, they have incredible legs. Pablo Charlie, that's because you haven't been to the best part of Italy. The best part of Italy is up north, the Dolomites. So you want to go to South Tyrol, autonomous province of Italy. Here we go. If we can get this come up here. Come on. Why does it do this? I hate this. South Tyrol. It won't let me expand this picture. So let me try that. No, it lets me expand the map, but not the picture. That's crazy. Anyway, so South Tyrol is a beautiful place, and I'm looking for the population here. Current population is just 531,000. Yep, it's an amazing place with a great history, and beautiful scenery. So let me see if I can get some images here of South Tyrol. Here we go. Oh, here you go. Why does it not let me blow up? Here we go. That's not what I want. Oh, this is stupid. Google, you can be annoying. 12 things to know before visiting Tyrol and the Dolomites. Look at that. Look at that. Italy's best kept secret. South Tyrol. Sud Tyrol or Alto Adige. Look at that. Be careful. That looks like one of the cable cars that a reserve Marine cut the cable and killed all those people when I lived in Italy. That was pretty scary. Just gorgeous. I'm talking about the mountain, not the young lady. Yep. There's vineyards. The Valvegs. And there is a beautiful shot of Murano, which is a resort where the nobility of Europe, particularly of Eastern Europe, the Russian royal family, Romanovs, all their relations used to go there, plus other royal families used to hang out there in Murano. Beautiful place. Been there. Yep. Hier bist du gesessen und gerührt und auch gelehrt. Die Flasche so steckt die Rest. Anyway, so, yeah, buongiorno or guten Morgen. Yeah, more like servus. So sip wines, the Alpine kind. Here you go. World-class vineyards. It's a beautiful place. Beautiful place. Absolutely gorgeous. Embrace wellness. South Tyrol. Sud Tyrol. Absolutely gorgeous place, folks. You'll love it. Salzburg is nice, but that's in Austria. That's a little further away. Wow, we lost 8 people. Bye-bye. Where'd you go? Okay. What else? Don't pay income tax. Well, Malta's a great place. I think it's a tax haven as well, Johnny Metro. I think it is a tax haven. My book start. I wish I didn't pay income tax. It's killing me. My goodness, it takes so much of my money, especially my independent income. My retirement check, it doesn't take as much, but my frickin', self-employment, I have to pay a fortune. Colonel, when my book's ready, I will send you some cash to check it out. I don't give my card details to YouTube. Johnny Metro, I'll be back in the UK. If you're in the UK when I come back, if it's a place I'm going, we can meet head on. I tend to gravitate north of London and find some place so I can go north to the Midlands or towards Scotland or go down towards Wales or towards London because London's just too expensive. I stayed there. I used to stay there frequently. I don't stay there much anymore because it's just too much. It's hard to get a good deal. I mean, I was really pissed off when I rented a car at the airport and Avis never mentioned that there was a congestion tax for London. And I drove into London on a trip, and I parked my car, didn't even move it. I parked down by where the Thames bends at Canary Wharf on the west side of the river, parked my car, stayed in a DoubleTree, nice DoubleTree right there, took the little cable car across to Canary Wharf, and then used the public transport, went down in the tube to travel around London from there. And it was pretty cool. Never moved the car. Was there for like 4 days. And then I got hit with a congestion tax, and then Avis never billed me for it. They had my credit card. They didn't bill me for it. They ignored it. And then I was hit with a late fee, and then they didn't pay that. Then they did it again. I wound up paying like 300 some pounds for something I shouldn't have paid for in the first place. So I hate London. I hate London. Yep, I hate London. Yep. Kelvin Gilbert. Hi from Missouri. A lovely day working in the cotton fields, mowing stalks. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, Kelvin. Oh, it's Kelvin Gilbert. Kelvin Gilbert. It was weird how it looked on the screen. Kelvin, thank you so much. Cotton in Missouri. Wow. Way down in the land of cotton. Yes. Oh, well, interesting. Thank you for being here. I would never go to India. Also, their food is holy guacamole, says Pablo. Well, Indian food is my favorite cuisine. Yep. But I prefer my Indian food either in the heart of London in Soho or in Durban. That's where I prefer to eat my Indian food. But I love me some Indian food. Some good stuff. Johnny says, yes, girl, come stay with me, no problem. Mildenhall. Okay, that's perfect. I know Mildenhall. I've been there many times in uniform. Cracker Barrel Kid says, 35 Rand, did Trump make a mistake campaigning on achieving peace? Doesn't it weaken his negotiating position? Putin knows his base. No, Trump is not desperate for peace. No. He said first off, anyone who believes that Trump is going to end the war on day one is crazy. All right, he's not going to end the war on day one. But Trump has a relationship with Putin and with Zelensky, and he's going to force them to come together. And we're going to force Zelensky to the table by cutting off the money. We cut off the money. The rest of the Europeans are too cheap to pick up the pace of what America. We've delivered over $250 billion to these clowns, over $250 billion easily at this point, although the government disputes that figure. I dispute their figure. It's well north of $200 billion that Joe Biden has given to fuel his proxy war in Ukraine. And so what Trump, all he has to do is simply cut off the money, and that'll force Zelensky to the table. Now, Putin, we have leverage against Putin. Trump can get him come to the table too, because Trump can say, look, you know what? I am not going to support Ukraine's position on Crimea. You've got it fair and square. And that'll bring him to the table. And then I'll have to discuss the Donbass, and it'll probably be a plebiscite. That'll be what happened. So, I don't think there's any pressure on Trump to end the war. Anybody who starts attacking him like the left, well, it's been in office for 2 months, the war's still going on. That's not Trump's fault. There were no wars going on. Trump ended wars when he was president. So I don't think there's any pressure on Trump. Robert ZA is here. Tony Nash says 100% Colonel Zelensky has to go. Yes. You're welcome. You will fit in just fine, Johnny Metro. Yeah, no, I've been to Mildenhall a few times. I remember, when was this? This was 2000, must have been 2000. I was at NSA. So it must have been 2002, maybe 2003. And I went to UK. We have things we have to do there. So I left NSA on a trip and took a colleague there. And we had visits in different places. So we were at Mildenhall for one of our stops. And we also went to somewhere else. It's a little bit further north of there, which some people are probably familiar with. Not a state secret, but I'm just not going to mention it out of habit. But we went there as well. And, Harrogate, that's where it was. Just say it. Anyway, so I went there. At Mildenhall, I was riding on the train because I went into London. I took my colleague into London because I don't think he had been to London. So we went into London. We came back on the train. And this lady was texting. Now, at the time, there were no free text in America. SMS hadn't caught on. It was still, you had to pay for every text. I think T-Mobile gave me 50 free text a month. And then everything after that, you had to pay for. So she was like texting. I'm like, we started chatting with her. And I'm like, well, you're texting a lot. Isn't that expensive? She goes, it's just 5p. Okay, but I saw her do like 20 texts in like 10 minutes. And so that's £1. And all day long, she had 5-10 pounds a day. I was like, you are crazy. Of course, now we don't pay for text. They're automatic. But yeah, no, I remember that very fondly, not fondly, but very vividly on that train coming back from London, going back to Mildenhall. It was crazy. Dylan says, you're welcome to land down under. See you in South Africa after you take office. Ukraine is not helping itself. Of course, it's the most corrupt country in Europe, save Montenegro. The only more corrupt country in all of Europe is Montenegro. Cracker Barrel, thank you for the 35 Rand super chat. You and Brett have set the pace for super chats in this stream. I don't know how are we doing this month. The rugby channel doing a little bit better than the last month, but not as good as the previous month. But hey, whatever. We're not here to get rich. That's for damn sure. Because if I was, I'd be sorry. How are we doing? Actually, we're better than last month, but still behind September and way behind June, which was the big month. June was a good month on this channel. So anyway, yeah. So Light Rain says, I prefer to eat all my ethnic food from a cookbook that can keep the chef in his home country. Yeah, no, but I love Indian food. Chicken madras is my favorite, which is ironic because there's no town called Madras anymore. They changed the name to Chennai. So I always joke around when I get the meal, should I get chicken Chennai? Yeah, Mildenhall is great, Johnny Metro. I have to remember that. That's a great spot. We could place for an overnight there. So, but I mean, there's so many people in the UK that actually watch my program that I actually do meet and greets. So we've done with Hendo, we've done it with Fleshin, we've done it with where's Keith Alderson? We've done it with Keith Alderson, done it with Fiona. Yeah, that's at least 4 different. And we got the right Reverend Allhide. We just missed a meet and greet. I was in the same town the same day and just missed him. The fact this war is continuing is that Europe, who is the hype man for, expects us to foot the bill. Yeah, exactly. They must spend appropriate money. Well, look, G. Sawyer, and I'll just go back to a perfect example of what happened here. In 1990, we came back. In 91, we came back from the Gulf War, and Slovenia and Croatia started making noise about breaking away from Yugoslavia. And then they did. The JNA, Yugoslav National Army, rolled into Slovenia and Croatia, but the focus was Slovenia initially. And in 9 days, the Slovenians stood up for themselves and defeated the JNA, and it decided, you know what? This place is 90% Slovene. It's not that important. It's on the periphery. We don't really need it. And they left Slovenia, and Slovenia won its independence. Johnny says, I'm a daily curry eater too, and I'm straight. Well, okay, Johnny, I wasn't curious about your sexuality, but now you make me nervous since you mention it. Do you like sheep? No, I'm just asking for a friend. But seriously. So Yugoslavia began disintegrating. The Europeans sat around with their fingers on their thumbs up their butt. And Bill Clinton didn't get involved. First off, Bush didn't do anything. And then Clinton came in office. He didn't do anything. And the Europeans said, this is our problem. We'll fix this. We'll deal with this. And all they did was paint a few helicopters white, fly them down as EU, as observers. A couple got shot down, and then they ran away like little biatches. And then the United Nations went in with 23,000 troops into Croatia after that 6-month war in which thousands were killed, particularly in the eastern part, in eastern Slavonia, in Vukovar, Vikovici, thousands brutally killed. I watched this thing unfold with unclassified information. I mean, for me, I got classified information like once a week. We had to go to the communications center and get these big printouts on dot matrix printers with classified documents, most of which was absolutely useless. It didn't help me at all. So I used open source to follow the war, and a lot of journalists were killed in that conflict, reporting the war. Robert Maxwell, that's Ghislaine Maxwell's father, a very famous Jewish guy who owned the first color newsprint paper in Europe. They did a lot of great coverage of it. I used to get the European all the time. I'd read it and other sources, and I followed the war. And I saw a very strange phenomenon happening, which other intelligence analysts were paying no attention to because they didn't care about it, but I did care. And that's how I cut my teeth in improving as an analyst. So the brigades and battalions for the Serbs that were in eastern Slavonia during the week would have an end strength of less than 300. But on the weekend, they would swell to 800, 1,000, 1,200, 2,500 for battalions, brigades. And then they would fight, and they would be fighting all weekend. Why? Because they were literally weekend warriors. The people would come in from Zagreb, the Croats, and fill their units on the weekend. The people would come in from Belgrade on the weekend and the surrounding areas, and they would fill their units, and they'd just start killing each other every weekend. Sunday night, they went home, and only a token force stayed. It was truly a weekend warrior war. Meanwhile, thousands died. 23,000 UN troops went in there from all over the world, and they accomplished nothing. The Europeans accomplished nothing. So the biggest conflict in post-World War II Europe until Ukraine was in the former Yugoslavia, and the Europeans were absolutely useless. Nothing happened in Yugoslavia until the Americans got involved, and they drug NATO into it. That's when it changed. And that's what people want here. The Europeans are lazy, they're cowardly, they're cheap bastards, and they want us to do it. I'm not going to do it. Donald Trump is not going to send U.S. troops there. Not going to happen. My PA was a lieutenant colonel, left 63. Okay, Johnny? Just trying to put you at ease. No, Johnny, I'm teasing. I'm fine. I'm fine. Need major offer counter lobbying groups such as AIPAC, says Pablo Charlie. The fact this war is continuing, already read that. Okay, I'm caught up now. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm caught up. Right. Almost nobody's tuning in, folks. There's 72 of you here sticking around. I appreciate it. The average view time is up to 12 minutes. 281 views. That's kind of low on a Sunday, but I guess it's because of the time. NFL players doing the Trump dance. It's not an issue, Pablo Charlie. The NFL said it's not an issue. Who's an issue with? Spoiler alert, Hungarian Ottoman Empire will emerge again. I'm following events leading to this news from Hungary you don't know about. Hungarian Ottoman Empire. There was no Hungarian Ottoman Empire. The Hungarians opposed the Ottoman Empire. What are you talking about, man? You're losing me, Tony. You talking about the Austro-Hungarian Empire? Is that what you mean? Yeah, they got that one. We always want to be saved by the U.S. Yeah, exactly, G. Sawyer. And we pour our national treasure in and we get no credit for it. We just get Europeans looking down their nose at us. I mean, I always get a kick, and this is true story, folks. Wow, we just lost some more people. Where am I going there? Down to 69 now. I always get a kick out of this. Germans especially. As the Americans, they don't care about the climate. That's a terrible German. How do I do a German accent? I always do, I don't know. It sounds like a Polish or Russian accent. Trying to do a German accent. Maybe I should do a German accent speaking German. Ja, eigentlich die Amerikaner, die sind verrückt, die wollen immer, die haben also, I don't know how to do it. Anyway, so Tony says, I had to clear a browser and reload it too. Yeah, okay, the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Well, I wouldn't be shocked to see that. Austria and Hungary merge, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be interesting. Wow, that's something I'd like to see. I had no problem with that. I love Austria, and but it would be cool to see it merge with Hungary again. That'd be something else. Saw some good numbers on your rugby channel. Lots of views. I'm not sure which one you're referring to. The views are way down from a few months ago, but they're still pretty good. I had 131,000 tune in for my broadcast of the Springboks and the Pumas from Nelspruit. That was epic. We gained 1,500 subscribers. Pretty cool. Anyway, Salzburg. Yeah, Salzburg, probably, I think you said that earlier. Salzburg's beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful places in Austria. The Salzkammergut is really lovely. So, sounds suddenly very soft. Really? Oh my goodness. I hit the microphone. That's on me, folks. That's on me. Yeah, volume. Sorry about that. I hit the microphone. And meantime, my stream froze. So, wow. Let me get back over here and open this up again in the Creator Studio. Yeah, the volume. I hit the volume with my elbow and didn't realize it. Sorry about that, folks. Right. That's on me. Rookie mistake there. Okay, so what are we doing? We got 72 people here. All right, you got me again? Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so the microphone volume is right here. Right there at the bottom of the base. And my arm came up against it, and I must have brushed it and turned it down. And see, I don't see anything that tells me it's going down, so sorry about that. Hungary's claim to fame, no, Hungary's claim to fame is not George Soros. Hungary is very famous from long before that. Yep, Hungary is banned Soros. Yes, with good reason. Tony is of Hungarian origin. His parents fled from the 1956 Hungarian Revolution. Just switched on my speaker to hear. Okay, Vilma. Did you have to change something because I had it down? Sorry about that. Marilyn didn't notice the sound difference? No, I'm sure there was a difference because I noticed that this thing was turned down all the way. So anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, so what were we talking about here? Yugoslavia, we talked about that. Yeah, people have short memories. I remember all these things. Is it one of the richer? It's fine. It's not one of the wealthiest, but Hungary's come a long way since the Soviet era. You have to remember that the Hungary suffered horribly under the Soviets. They also suffered horribly as the Germans. One of the fiercest places the Germans defended at the end of the war, 1945, was Hungary. The battle for Budapest and for Hungary was the Germans sent SS divisions in there to keep it from falling. Yeah, it was something else. Hungary's famous for music and white wine. Yeah, they're famous for a lot of things. Don't talk BS in the chat. I'll call you on it. Who's talking BS, Tony? Not me. I think people are saying good things about Hungary right now, so I'm not sure what the issue is there. Anyway, the only thing I like about Hungary is their flag. I just don't like the colors. But one of my best overnights in my entire life was spent in Budapest. Right there at the Sheraton Hotel. Absolutely lovely. Yeah, goulash is nice too. Hungary has beautiful stamps. Hungary has beautiful scenery. They have great lakes. Fantastic. And interesting people. Hungarians are interesting people. So, yep. I kind of like Orban's attitude towards EU and all these globalist organizations. For example, he's already said Netanyahu. Yeah, I know. He's welcomed Netanyahu, and we should do the same. First off, we are not a signatory to the Rome Statute, so even if Netanyahu comes here, we have no basis to arrest him. And nobody has a basis to arrest him because Israel is not a signatory. Therefore, nobody has authority. Gaza is not part of the ICC, so they have no authority over Yoav Gallant or Netanyahu. This is just a power play, a leftist fantasy by the illegitimate International Criminal Court, which is undermine its legitimacy. Well, speaking of illegitimate, Jacob Zuma has officially permanently been kicked out of the African National Congress. Big surprise? Not. Jan's been to Hungary. I was there too. Jacob Zuma has been officially expelled from ANC following its National Disciplinary Committee of Appeals decision upholding his earlier expulsion and for endorsing and leading the MK party. Jay-Z is out on his ear, something he knew his entire life. Good riddance. Reminder, folks, I hope if you had a prepaid electricity meter that you recoded it today, because if you didn't, supposedly it's not going to work tomorrow. You won't have any electricity. The deadline to update prepaid electricity meters before the stop working was November 24th. The deadline, recoded. Tomorrow, many South Africans will not be able to load electricity if their meters are still on KRN1 mode. They did extend the deadline for those who are zero buyers. Zero buyers is someone who used electricity without having purchased it. What the hell does that mean? What the hell does that mean? You don't purchase it and use it? Well, the MK party I was asked about earlier, musical chairs as Zuma appoints a convicted fraudster as MK national organizer. Wow. Musical chairs continues. The position was previously held by EFF defector Floyd Chavon, who has since been appointed as the 5th Secretary General in its existence of nearly a year. Wow. So now they have appointed Joe Ndela as national organizer of Mkhonto Sizwe. Of course, he's a convicted fraudster, convicted by Johannesburg Regional Court of 3 counts of fraud and 1 of contravening the Companies Act back in July 2002. An ANC criminal is now part of MK Party. And see, I just can't take it seriously. Well, South Africa, comically, is the presidency of the G20, a group it has no business being part of, and they claim they're going to lead the G20 into doing some different things. The purpose of the G20 is economic, none of this social bullshit they're trying to pull. So, South Africa's G20 presidency can be a force for good. While the group has traditionally focused on economic matters, it has become accepted that this cannot exclude other pressing matters facing humanity. On December 1st, South Africa will unfortunately take over the presidency of the G20, a highly influential club of countries. G20 members account for more than 80% of the world's economy and more than 70% of global trade. They represent the world's largest economies, including the U.S., China, Japan, France, and Germany. Yeah, and foolishly, they let South Africa into it. Now they want to use it as a base for doing things. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Well, another child apparently in Soweto has died from poisoning, purportedly as a consequence of eating something from a spaza shop. This is out of control. Food poisoning. A second-grade pupil died after eating suspected poisoned food. She fell ill 2 days before she died. Ate biscuits from a spaza shop. How do you die from eating biscuits? Good Lord. The child from Diepkloof in Soweto died Friday after she reportedly ate biscuits purchased at a local spaza shop. Now, the problem I have with this is that we don't know that it was biscuits. She ate something else, obviously, in the 2 days after that. So why do they suspect biscuits? Well, the Daily Maverick runs a story, and I don't really care about the story. You're welcome to read it. I'll give you the link here. The reason I'm mentioning the story is because of the shameful conduct of the journalist, so-called journalist here. So I want to put this in here for you. So here's the link to it if you want to go check out this Daily Maverick story when we're done here. And they're talking about the things that Louis Liebenberg is accused of. A lot of people apparently got money from Louis Liebenberg, including Carl Niehaus, or as we prefer to call him, Carl Nyhorst. Yeah, so Shower Buddies is the name of the article, and it's disgraceful, its first paragraph. Shower Buddies, explosive inside story of diamond swindler Louis Liebenberg's political wheeling and dealing. Well, he's not a convicted swindler, so that is running the risk of libel right there. It's in print. 22 pages reveal shocking details about the ways in which the diamond dealer allegedly tried to buy influence and protection from politicians and law enforcement officials by Marianne Tam. And this is what she has to say. An explosive first-hand witness account by Hein Justa, security boss for alleged diamond scheme fraudster Louis Liebenberg, sketches an outstanding portrait of a self-absorbed huckster. An outstanding portrait of a self-absorbed huckster with a Donald Trump-like appetite for power, corruption, and chaos. And Marianne Tam, you've just undermined any credibility you have as a journalist. That is not objective. That is a slur on Donald Trump. He is none of those things. And you're not an objective journalist. You're just a talking head. You've ruined all your credibility with me right there. Well, Ibrahim Rasool is returning to Washington. Good luck, buddy. Trump is going to make mincemeat out of this clown. Another ANC clown. New ambassador will have his work cut out to try to sell South Africa's foreign policy. Not going to happen. The 62-year-old veteran anti-apartheid activist is a former premier of the Western Cape and a former advisor in the presidency. So Ibrahim Rasool will return to Washington, D.C., and I doubt that he'll get the time of day from the Trump administration. Well, cops are probing a DA counselor because she signed a document that led to the bail for a suspected murder, I should say. But why are they going after the DA counselor? This is a matter of form. This is what people do. By the way, I'm sorry, the tattoos and the multicolored nail polish. This woman, does she think she's 12 years old, 16 years old? Man. KZN police may arrest the DA counselor Zoe Solomon, who this weekend issued a proof of residence letter without having met with the resident who was in prison for seeking bail. While I understand what they're going after, this is a matter of course. It happens frequently. So the alleged member of the Hollywood gang, Treverenzo Bonhomme, has been on the radar of KZN anti-gang unit, who arrested the Brighton Beach police for possession of unlicensed firearm and ammunition on November 15th. So why was he granted bail in the first place? That's up to the courts to prevent that, regardless of what she says. The firearm is linked to a prior murder case in which he's allegedly a suspect, yet they approved bail. Police believe the same weapon was commissioned before his arrest to allegedly kill a young woman, yet they gave him bail. Police sources say the suspect is in hiding and believed to be behind a spate of drive-by shootings in Wentworth. Tia Robinson died in a hail of bullets in Pinetown in January this year. Also in Pinetown, a minor was killed in a crossfire during a shootout earlier this year. In early November, 27-year-old Wentworth resident Carrie Boom was shot dead outside a restaurant in the Bluff 2 days before celebrating her birthday. She was with Krisan Subramoni, a Marabank resident who was struck by several bullets that landed him in the hospital. The prime suspect in all these cases is Bonhomme, for whom Solomon signed a proof of residence, which led to him getting bail in the gun possession case. Why was he given bail with all these charges against him? This is unbelievable. Don't blame the DA counselor. Also, the DA counselor needs to do a little, better job of checking this stuff. Wow. So she did confirmation of address. But this is a pro forma thing. This is what counselors do. Maybe you shouldn't be asking counselors for proof of residence. You should actually be looking at tax records. Any truth in the old rumors that the Bush family had connections to weapon manufacturers when the U.S. destroyed? No truth in that whatsoever. Drop in a bucket to my knowledge. The Bush family does have relations with Saudi oil family, the Saudi royal family, but that's never really turned into anything for them. Hungarian born in Pretoria, Attila, worked with him in the mid-90s. Anyone know him? Nope, don't know him. There's Fleshin. So at what cast? This is crazy. So cables stolen. Plot thickens as a Mpumalanga woman is sentenced for cooking up Eskom cables to make pots. Discovered big round aluminum pots made from smelted Eskom aluminum copper cables in the yard of her home landed a woman in hot water with authorities. But she gets a suspended sentence. She's convicted to 5 years imprisonment, suspended for 5 years, or a 10,000 Rand fine. What kind of deterrent is that? 10,000 Rand? That's nothing. That's $600. Famed artist, South African anti-apartheid activist Brayton Breitenbach, who fled to France after being imprisoned for 9 years by the apartheid regime, has died at the age of 85. South Africa has lost a monumental voice in the arts as renowned painter, poet, and activist Brayton Breitenbach passed away peacefully this Sunday, November 24th, in Paris at the age of 85. His daughter announced the news via press release to French press agency. He was a towering figure in the anti-apartheid activism, was a beacon of resistance against the oppressive regime. Born in 1939, he is known for his innovative approach to both painting and poetry. His political activism, however, came at significant personal costs. He was in prison for 9 years in the late 1970s for his anti-apartheid activities. Upon his release in 1982, he became a naturalized French citizen, settling in Paris, yet he retained strong ties to South Africa, often returning. Brayton Breitenbach, dead at the age of 85. Bobby van Jaarsveld announces a divorce from Aniki. Aniki and Bobby are getting divorced, for those who care about the pop singer. 13 years of marriage, ended divorce, and they've got kids. But they say it's all going to be okay. They've known each other since grade 8, got married in 2011, and it all comes to an end. Bobby van Jaarsveld. 2 Egyptian vultures donated by American zoos are sent back to South Africa. And despite their name as Egyptian vultures, they actually were endemic to South Africa, but they've been wiped out. And only one has been seen in recent years. Two Egyptian vultures brought to South Africa in hopes of restarting extinct population. The birds were relocated from the USA to make their new home at the Shawarmi Game Reserve in an effort to rebuild a population of Egyptian vultures. One of the smallest vultures out there, and the only vulture, only one of the few birds known to use tools. They use pebbles to break ostrich eggs. Very clever birds. Light Rain says the egregious conflict of interest Dick Cheney and Halliburton. What is the conflict of interest there? When he was Secretary of Defense, he wasn't involved with Halliburton. When he was Vice President, he wasn't involved with Halliburton. He was, as a private citizen, the disastrous president or CEO of Halliburton. So what is the conflict of interest, Light Rain? Because the press has run with that story for 3 decades with no evidence. I'm not a Dick Cheney fan. I detest him. Outrage as convicted Pretoria child rapists are at large. The Pretoria Record reports that twin brothers Mornay and Marinus Kemp, convicted of child rape, remain free despite a court order for arrest after their appeal was dismissed. Twin brothers Mornay and Marinus Kemp, convicted of child rape, remain free despite a court order to report for arrest after their appeal was dismissed. According to AfriForum's private prosecution unit spokesperson Barry Bateman, their unit has sought urgent answers from the National Prosecuting Authority after being informed that a possible failure to enforce legal processes has spared two convicted child rapists from being arrested. Twin brothers were convicted in 2022 of raping a 14-year-old girl. Despite their appeal against their conviction being dismissed on 30 October and being ordered to report to the investigating officer, they have not been arrested and are in contravention of a court order. Wow. They must go to jail to serve their sentence. My daughter lives like a prisoner in her own home, said the victim's mother. The court sentenced Mornay to 25 years and Marinus to 20 years. In 2018, they raped a 14-year-old girl, who now would be 20 years old. Yet the convicted child rapists are at large, failing to turn themselves in. Well, the Springboks have slain the dragon. The toothless Wales team got slaughtered yesterday. The Springboks left a lot of points on the pitch, but they still came up with a big win. The 12th consecutive defeat for Wales is a record. Kurtley Arendse was amazing in this game. Absolutely amazing. So I can't get any of the super sport. They block everything because I'm not in South Africa. Sorry about that. Well, my question is this. What is the obsession with the Independent Online? The Independent Online is absolutely obsessed with Rachel Kolisi. I don't get it. She's not a particularly attractive woman. She's not a particularly eventful person who's accomplished anything in her life. Nothing against Rachel Kolisi. She's a mom, and she was married to a sports celebrity. Beyond that, I'm not sure she's done except some minor charity work involving her husband or soon-to-be ex-husband. Why the fascination with Rachel Kolisi? This is like the third story in the past 10 days on Rachel Kolisi. Somebody is in love with Rachel Kolisi at the Independent Online, honestly. In a heartwarming display of family love, Rachel Kolisi shared a glimpse into her daughter Kazia's 7th birthday celebrations. With a full heart, Rachel took to social media to express her delight following a day spent hiking, fulfilling the birthday girl's one wish. Okay. The family, including Rachel's sons Nicklin and Sia Kolisi's siblings Lima and Lipolo, ventured outdoors to embrace nature. Who cares? Who cares? Why do we care about Rachel Kolisi, and why is it a news story? Zimbabwe's CCC, Coalition for Change, opposition leader Jameson Timbe is found guilty of unlawful gathering. In kangaroo court hearings in Zimbabwe, the man who's been in prison for 5 months, already having been acquitted on one charge, he and 65 others were acquitted of a charge of disorderly conduct in September. But he and 34 others have been in prison since arrest over 5 months ago, were found guilty of unlawful gathering. Unlawful gathering. Because the police thought they might do something. Wow. 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 That's unbelievable. Well, Mozambique's president and the opposition leader are supposed to meet for talks. They've agreed. The runner-up in Mozambique's October 9th presidential elections, Venancio Mondlane, has accepted President Filipe Nyusi's offer to join discussions with him and 3 other candidates in hopes of ending weeks of post-election protest and violence that have left at least 30 people dead. That's the current president. He hasn't left office yet. So he's trying to bring all these parties together. Kenya apparently knew about the kidnapping of the opposition leader by Ugandan forces. Kenya knew about the arrest of Kizza Besigye, the government of Uganda said. He seems to have been snatched. Well, he's kidnapped. Yeah, but Uganda said it could not possibly make an arrest in Nairobi without Kenya's knowledge. Really? I don't think that's true. USAID paid for meals that went to pay for Syrian terrorists. U.S. Agency for International Development funded the meals of Syrian terrorists. Well, there you go. American taxpayers pay for hundreds of thousands of meals that went to al-Qaeda-affiliated fighters in Syria. Federal prosecutors revealed announcing charges against the NGO employee they say was responsible for it. Mahmoud Al-Afan ran the Syrian division of the non-government organization, skimmed as much as $10 million worth of meals paid for by USAID. The meals were supposed to go to Syrian refugees upended by the company's civil war, but Mr. Al-Hafan allowed members of the Al-Nusra Front, the al-Qaeda-linked terrorist organization, to come collect the meals. He cooked the books to try to hide the diversions, but 2 whistleblowers came forward to report him. All told, 380,000 meal kits were skimmed off. Jeez. USAID declined to confirm the name of the NGO, citing safety reasons. Really? So you're going to cover up for a group that fed terrorists? Wow, that's USAID. We'll get Trump and Doge cleaners in there. Protesters stop boats in the world's biggest coal port. I thought that was Richards Bay. I guess it's not. Almost 200 people have been arrested for pausing activity at the world's biggest coal port. Protesters formed a blockade in the port of Newcastle in Australia on Sunday, the third day of unrest, calling for federal government to rule out new gas and oil mines, coal and gas mines, and for a 78% tax on gas and coal exports. They want a 78% tax on exporting gas and coal. These people are morons. Well, the Philippine vice president, talk about crazy people. The Philippine vice president, Sara Duterte, has publicly threatened to have the president assassinated. Seriously? Now, she's the daughter of the outgoing president, and she's the vice president. Philippine Vice President Sara Duterte said yesterday she's contracted an assassin to kill the president, his wife, and the House of Representatives Speaker if she herself is killed in a brazen public threat that she's warned was not a joke. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin referred the active threat against President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to an elite presidential guards force for immediate, proper action. Wow. So this woman belongs in prison. She's publicly threatened the president of the country. Well, Kim Jong-un doesn't seem to be interested in negotiating. He's found his oats. He's sowing his oats now with his friends in Beijing and Moscow. He doesn't need to talk to Donald Trump. The chubby little Teletubby from Pyongyang. Pyongyang's most famous Teletubby, lard-ass Kim Jong-un. The North Korean dictator has few reasons to seek sanctions relief from the U.S. and has played down the need for disarmament talks. We've already explored every possible avenue of negotiating with the United States. He added that the U.S. is unchanging, aggressive, and hostile policy towards North Korea. Well, we're not that hostile, but we can deal with you if you'd like. Westminster Bridge was closed today after a stabbing in an altercation which the authorities claim was not terrorist-related. Westminster Bridge, right next to the buildings of Parliament, has been closed after stabbing left a man fighting for his life. Police were called to reports of a fight at the bridge on Sunday morning and found a man with a knife injury. He was taken to hospital in critical condition. Then he had a heart attack. They did arrest two men with minor facial injuries. It's understood the incident was not being treated as terror-related. A few hours ago, the road remained closed. I don't know the current status. You can see Big Ben and Parliament right there, and you can see the bridge closed off. I have walked across that bridge numerous times. It's also a place where a terrorist ran over pedestrians. Yep, that man is in critical condition after that attack on the Westminster Bridge. Well, more green fantasies go up in smoke. This time, it's not $635 million that Obama pissed down the drain for a solar panel manufacturer in New York, Buffalo, New York. It went poof. This time, it's $15 billion. $15 billion. Yep. Sweden's Northvolt has gone up in smoke, producing nothing. Another green fantasy money scam. Sweden's Northvolt, once the darling of the battery industry, has filed for bankruptcy following a financial crunch. Northvolt is one of the world's most valuable battery startups. No, it's not. Now it has run out of charge. It was one of the most valuable. Over the past week, the Swedish company filed for bankruptcy in the United States and said its co-founder was stepping down as chief executive after a turbulent year of production problems and job cuts. The move marks a stark change in fortunes for a company that was once vaulted as Europe's best hope for competing with China's dominant battery makers. Northvolt's collapse also underscores the difficulty Western companies face in establishing a foothold in the industry. Northvolt has struggled with a challenging market for electric vehicles, difficulty scaling up, and management missteps. So now they filed for Chapter 11. Yeah, but they've lost a ton of money. By the end of 2023, Northvolt had secured $15 billion in debt, equity, and grants, while its order book had swelled to more than $50 billion. German auto giant Volkswagen was among the top backers with 21% stake in this company, but they've lost a lot of money. Northvolt reported losses of $1.2 billion in 2023, $1.2 billion, and revenue of $128 million. 10% of their losses is their actual revenue. Not profit, revenue. Another scam. Another scam. Have you followed the news stream of Johnny Somalia in South Korea? Yes, I have. It's most like going to prison. Good, good. I've seen the whole thing with Johnny Somalia. I actually watched some K-pop the other night with Twice, little girl K-pop band. They were playing Thursday night after the football game. I turned on my Amazon Prime, and there it was, live from Los Angeles. K-pop. little lip-syncing, little skinny minis, except for one who's a little pudgy. But 9 girls in the group twice, which has been around for 10 years, but they can't handle stress. So a couple times they've backed off. A fat Korean in a land that people are starving is loved. Hard to understand. Not really fleshing because we know that he's corrupt. Yes. In June, BMW pulled a $2 billion contract with Northvolt because they weren't delivering. Northvolt, another scam, a green energy scam. Well, the far right is looking to replace the outgoing ethnic German President Johannes. Klaus Johannes is leaving office at its end of his term, and the far right is doing well in the polls, according to Al Jazeera. Social Democrat Marcel Cioccolatto and far right George Simeonen are most likely to move to a runoff. There you go. First round of presidential elections has begun in Romania with voters choosing a replacement for the outgoing president, Klaus Iohannis. Romanians are choosing between 13 candidates today, with the top 2 moving on to second round on December 8th if no single candidate gets 50%, which is very likely. The second presidential vote may be between current SDP Prime Minister Marcel Cioccolatto and far right leader of the Alliance for the Union of Romanians, George Simeon. Wow. Turnout was just 27% at noon GMT. They had 7 hours left, so now we're past that time, and I wonder how much the turnout actually was. Climate talks. The Global South is whining. They want us to pay them. Get stuffed. Negotiators from nearly 200 nations made a non-binding commitment that wealthy nations would aim to provide $300 billion annually by 2035. No. You want money from me? Sell me something worthwhile. I'm not giving you handouts, you lazy buggers. So, Donald Trump, 23 out of 27 announced. The Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. Director of the Office of Management and Budget, Russell Turlow-Vaught. Secretary of Labor, Lori Chavez-Dremimer. And Secretary of HUD, Scott Turner. Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent. And Attorney General Pam Bondi. Just 4 seats left now to be filled. These require confirmation by the Senate. Yes, so there you go. Many more seats that don't require confirmation. Donald Trump picks a hedge fund manager to be his Secretary of Treasury. There he is. President-elect Donald Trump said he'll nominate hedge fund manager Scott Bessent to be Secretary of the Treasury. 62-year-old is the founder of the Key Square Capital Market hedge fund and has worked on and off for Soros Fund Management since 1991. That's a little concerning. He'll be the nation's first openly gay Treasury Secretary. He's a deficit hawk and said he would work to lower U.S. national debt. He's a billionaire, is a past supporter of Democrats, but has become a strong supporter of Trump. Well, there you go. So we'll see how that goes. NATO chief meets with Donald Trump amid rising tensions with Russia. The new NATO chief from the Netherlands, Mark Rutte, discussed a range of global security issues facing the alliance. And on Monday, the Democrats will file charges against Donald Trump and seek to impeach him for violating the Logan Act and communicating with foreign officials when he's not in behalf of the United States. Watch. These idiots will come with that. Trump has to do this to recover the world from Joe Biden's disaster, and it's perfectly normal. Donald Trump has made a very questionable nomination for someone who doesn't know what they're doing. It's Sebastian Gorka. Trump names Gorka to White House counter-terror post, picks Scott Turner to head HUD. Wow. That's crazy. Doesn't require Senate confirmation. He's nominated him to be the Deputy Assistant to the President and Senior Director for Counterterrorism. Mr. Gorka, a British-Hungarian-American media host, has been a fixture of Trump's and MAGA for years. He served in the first administration briefly. And what does he know about counterterrorism? My goodness. This is not a good move. Trump is coming for the executive branch. Does he know what he's doing, says the Washington Post. President-elect has signaled that he will be destructive, but he seems motivated by retribution rather than saving money. Really? That's the Washington Post analysis. Idiots. Well, mortgage rates under Joe Biden's wonderful, perfect, beautiful Bidenomics economy pushing up to 7%. Wow. Housing production slowed last month amid elevated rates. Mortgage rates are closing in at 7% level following a dip to nearly 6% in recent weeks. The average rate for 30-year fixed mortgage was 6.84%. Good Lord, my rate is less than half that. I couldn't afford a 6.84%. Well, the Biden administration rushing to hand out as much of my money and your money as they can before Donald Trump gets in office. Administration officials working on last minute to issue billions in grants before Biden leaves office. In the remaining weeks of his crooked administration, Joe Biden and his crooked officials are racing against the clock to issue billions in grants to take other steps to retain as much as possible his legacy before President Trump takes over in January. Wow. Biden officials want $1 trillion infrastructure law and a $375 billion climate law to survive past Biden's tenure. They're moving fast to make it true. He announced more than $3.4 billion in grants on Friday, including projects for U.S. ports, reducing highway fatalities, supporting American manufacturing, and improving passenger rail service. White House officials also sprinting to issue major grants for environmental projects. Good Lord. Just giving away our money. Dirty bastards. Well, the surprising impact of voter identification in North Carolina. People didn't stop voting. It had no impact. Liars. Well, Native Americans from Navajo Nation turned out major way for Trump. As I said, I told you Native Americans were going to vote for Trump. I didn't know if they get a majority, but it looks like Trump may have got a majority. Election shows Native American vote is forced to be recognized. In the traditionally Democratic voting stronghold of the Navajo Nation, bread and butter issues swung more voters towards GOP in 2024. The population of 165,000, the Navajo Nation is the largest indigenous reservation in the United States, occupying 16 million acres, the size of West Virginia. A land of stunning desert beauty, majestic mountain sandstone canyons, and red rock formations, and highways that stretch for miles with the rising and setting sun. In 2020, there were 67,000 eligible Navajo voters, the vast majority of whom supported Democrat President Joe Biden, who won Arizona by just over 10,000 votes on the strength of the Navajo vote. Look at that. In the 2024 election, Navajo support Republican nominee Donald Trump increased. An Edison Research exit poll showed that Native American vote was 65% in Trump's favor nationwide. A Native News poll found online found that 51% supported him versus 48% for Kamala Harris. Well, there you go. Save our country, vote Trump. Carrie Lake, Eli Crane, Navajos for Trump. Wow. That is a huge turnaround. Huge turnaround. Navajos voted en masse for Trump, as I predicted. As I predicted. Other Native Americans also voted for Trump. There you go. Is it true that some states still counting votes? Yes, California is still counting votes. In fact, let's take a look at that real quick. Get rid of the South Tyrol nonsense. I don't need that. Malta, we don't need any more. That was from earlier. Öland, we don't need. Okay, let's get to New York Times. New York Times. We have to hunt for this because they don't keep it available. U.S. elections. There's the 2024 elections, the president, the Senate, and the House. Uncalled House races. Okay, let's see. Uncalled House races. Yep, there's still 3 undecided. In Iowa 1, still undecided. Last time I reported on was the 22nd. In California 13, the Republican has a 204 vote lead 5 hours ago. In California 45, Tran, which would be a flip to Democrat, has a 545 vote lead. 3 races yet to be called almost 3 weeks after the election. That's pathetic. Meanwhile, in the presidential race, Donald Trump has 76,838,984 votes. He's approaching 77 million. Yep. And he still has 50% of the vote, despite what Jessica Tarloff lied about on the Fox program, and 53 Republicans. So it is all red for Donald John Trump. Yep, absolutely. Went really well for Trumpster. Trumpster. Look at that. Flipped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 states, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona all flipped for Trump. Yep. And next time, it's a shame Trump can't run again. I don't want him to run again, but that kind of dynamism. New Hampshire could flip. Virginia could flip. Yep. Next time. How did New Jersey go? Not great, but Trump came close. He's within 150,000 votes. Wow, he could flip New Jersey with a Scott Presler in New Jersey with 150,000 votes. That's all it would take. Right. Okay. So who's still here? We're down to 55 people. Only 85 likes. Is it true that some states? Yes. Okay. UK will have Sharia law soon as the Brits have lost their balls. These immigrants want to change European countries to version of home countries. They fled. Yeah, make it make sense. You can't. The American left has no right to criticize any cabinet picks after Biden chose Rachel Levine. Yeah, not just Rachel Levine, Cracker Barrel kid. Look at that idiot who stole women's luggage from the airport, walked around with a mustache and claimed to be a woman in the EPA. It's crazy. California says, but yeah, exactly. They're rigging probably. Carrie Lake lost in Arizona. Well, Hendo, I don't know. I don't know what happened this time. Johnny Somali from Arizona, he will be a comfort boy in Korean prison. From Arizona. A fat Korean, okay. When the UK government is so quick to say it's not terror related, it means it's 100% created by, you're right, Cracker Barrel kid. That's 100% right. Rachel Khaleesi is claiming victimhood. Well, stop reporting on her in the Independent Online. The toilet paper record loves her. Appreciate your perspective. I guess that was an unexamined bias on my part. The change is so easy to dislike. No, Light Rain. Look, I mean, I don't like him, but okay, let's be clear. So they went after Cheney, and the media just constantly went, Halliburton. That's because when he left office as the Secretary of Defense years later, just before he wound up becoming the Vice President, Dick Cheney became the CEO of Halliburton. He was a disaster for Halliburton. He approved and pushed for and negotiated the purchase of a company that had billions of dollars of asbestos liability. I don't know why they acquired this company. Had nothing to do with Halliburton. And then Halliburton owned the company. Well, they inherited the liability and they had to take care of the liability. So now they have liability, and he nearly destroyed Halliburton. Halliburton also is accused of profiteering off the Iraq War, but the contracts that Halliburton got were mostly for things like running dining facilities and providing resources and services for soldiers. They didn't make money on that. They made almost no money. Halliburton wasn't making money. So at first, Dick Cheney nearly bankrupted them as CEO. He was a terrible CEO. So I don't know why people get excited about that. Number two, even with the contracts that they were getting, they weren't actually making money. They were accused of profiteering, but they weren't profiteering. They were barely making money if people delve into it. So I don't like Dick Cheney. I think he's a horrible human being. And his daughter's even worse, in my view. They're just a bunch of rhinos who love to get soldiers killed. And they're just wusses who send us to our deaths. So I have nothing for him, Light Rain. So that wasn't an attack on you. I know you didn't take it that way. I'm just saying that the problem is that the hyperbole is there. And they don't back it up with substance. And then you hear it so often that people just repeat it and they believe it. So, yeah. Anyway, so not a fan of his. End of days for libtards. I hope so. I hope so. Oprah, Obama, and Beyonce, plus the rest of Hollywood, couldn't get that cackling hyena to the finish line. Yeah, they couldn't. They couldn't. And neither could Lizzo. What a disgusting individual that person is. Oof. There's zero chance of Sharia law coming to the UK. Sorry, you might like the idea, but it's not happening in our lifetime. I was reading a comment from someone else. Those missing 15 million Democratic voters from me. Well, there's no 15 million missing, G. Sawyer. Okay, that's the first thing. Let's put that in perspective. That was so. Look, I'm not giving my viewers a hard time, but the bottom line is this. Okay, so Trump. Let me get the total from 2020, the final total. So 2020 presidential election. Okay. Results map, 2020. There's New York Times. Okay, we'll go with the New York Times because that's what I'm using here. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this. Compare it. 2020, 2024. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here's 2020. Biden wins, they claim, okay? 2020. 306 to 232. Trump had 74 million votes. Biden, they claim, had 81 million votes. Let's do the math, okay? Let's do the math. Okay, let me just do this real quick. So 74 million plus 81 is 155 million voters. Yeah, 155.5 million. Okay, this time the vote totals are the following. So 155. So Trump gets almost 77 million. She gets 74 million. So let's just do that. 74 million and 77 million. 74 plus 77. That's 4 million. So 4 million voters are missing. That's correct. 4 million different voters less than last time. Yep. There's 4 million fewer votes, not 15 million, not 20 million, which is what when the polls hadn't closed on the West Coast, they hadn't counted the votes. A lot of conservatives were saying there's a missing 20 million voters. Well, it was actually more like 11 million, and it's been whittled down as the votes have come in. So, yeah, 4 million fewer than last time. So that's where we sit. No, that's not even the difference between those two. It's 7 million. So 81 million votes for Biden, they claim, and 74 million for her. So that's 7 million votes. And Donald Trump picked up 4 million of those. So that means there's 3 million missing from that pile. Yep. So Trump swung 4 million Democratic voters his way. 4 million. And we can show you where they were. We can show you in California, in Los Angeles, in New York. That takes care of a big chunk of them right there. There's over 600,000 in LA, and there's over 600,000, almost 700,000 in New York. That's 1.3 million, plus a few 100,000 more. It was wound up being 2 million between Chicago, New York, and LA. So 200 million Americans didn't vote. No, 200 million Americans aren't even eligible to vote, Tony. We had a 70% turnout here. There are 330 million Americans, and you've got 151 million who voted. Well, a lot of people are kids, plus convicted people can't vote. So, yeah. And there's, so not everybody's eligible to vote. 50 million kids aren't eligible to vote. You got to take them out of the mix right away. So that lowers the total right there. So, yeah, that's just the analyst in me. I just don't jump to conclusions. Not that you did, but I'm just saying you raised a fair question. But what happens is people go on social media and they do all that stuff. Trump swung the swing states. He did. So as I predicted, Trump would win every single swing state. That's what I predicted. Every single swing state. Go back and watch the video, and he won every single swing state. All 7 of them. He won all 7. And let's take a look at those numbers. Let's take a look, compare it from 2020. According to them, they claim in 2020 that he lost Pennsylvania 3.458, 3.377. Lost Michigan by significant percentage there. They say he lost it there by 140,000 votes. Wisconsin, they say he lost it by 20,000 votes. Arizona, they say he lost it by 11,000 votes. Georgia, they say he lost it by 22,000 votes. And Nevada, they say he lost it by 669 to 703. Let's look at this time around. He wins Nevada by 46,000 votes. He wins Arizona by 190,000 votes, almost 200,000 votes. That's huge. He wins Wisconsin by just 30,000 votes. He wins Michigan by 80,000 votes, which is, it was only a few thousand. Now it wound up being 8,000. Wins Pennsylvania by 120,000 votes. Yep. So, and then he wins Georgia by 115,000 votes. So, yeah, he swung all those swung states. Yep. Yeah, in Washington State, felons can vote. Yeah, not here. We don't allow felons to vote. We're not stupid. The state of Washington is run by leftist liberals who are idiots. Yep, Americans came to their senses. Yes, Tony and Age, but not enough. New Mexico, while it's a 6-point difference, the vote total is only 53,000 votes. 53,000 votes. That's doable. Colorado can't be changed. Illinois can't be changed. Minnesota could be changed. That's close. Minnesota, New Mexico, New Hampshire could be flipped easily. And Delaware, there's no chance. Maryland, there's no chance at all. Maryland can be flipped. It's 800,000 votes. That's lost. Yep, here's some Dems are cutting off family members. Yeah, we also had one Democrat murder her father in Washington State. This demented lunatic murdered her father out there. It's crazy. They're talking about not having sex. I mean, you look at some of these women. Thank you. Not interested. Anyway. All right, folks, we've been at this for an hour and a half. I think that's enough for today on a Sunday. It's 9:30 in South Africa now. And you all have a lovely evening. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button, and we appreciate being here. I haven't hit 100 likes, so 55 of you stuck to the end. 16 minutes, 32 seconds, the average view time. Thank you for that. And I'll see you tomorrow. Got lots going on. I got to try to fast tonight so I can actually do the blood work tomorrow. So cheers. Thanks for being here. Be sure to hit the like button. Tony Nage, good to see you again. I'm sorry it's cold up there. And for the new viewers, nice to see you here. Make sure you are subscribed if you're chatting. If you weren't chatting, please subscribe. And we'll see you here next time. Cheers, everybody.